Hey, this is Jody Roundhouse with the Roundhouse Report. Doing a real quick couple minutes on where are we heading as a country, America. Are we going the way of Rome? All great empires fall. Alexander the Great. Well, the West has always won. Let me put it that way. The West has always won. Going all the way back to ancient Greece, the Persians from the East, the Middle East, tried to bust up on the little tiny Greeks, and multiple times they were beaten back. Win for the West. That's number one. Then the Macedonians conquered Greece, and then, as you know, Alexander the Great completely devastated the Persian Empire, went all the way to into India. That's number two. The West really conquered everything then. The West really won. Number three, Roman Empire. Well, I guess it would be post-Alexander, which is like the Ptolemy and all that. They broke up, but that didn't last long because then the Romans came to the fore. They beat Carthage. Carthage fell as a civilization. They were very powerful. The Romans took their place, developed the Roman Empire. And they actually, to the extent of the Roman Empire, goes into the Arabian Peninsula. If you look it up on Google Images, it didn't last long. Not the empire, but that territorial area, because they had wars with Parthia, which are Persians, an offshoot from, or the holdovers from the Persian Empire. So you had the Parthians that the Romans were fighting toward the end there, and that was kind of the divide. Was you had the Roman Empire, and then they butted up in the Middle East against the Parthians. First, the Parthians beat the Roman army that came against them, and then the Romans came back and beat the shit out of the Parthians. Win. Number three. Bam. Win. And again, regarding Carthage, Rome versus Carthage, they're both in the West, so win again. It's another win. Okay, so Rome. Parthia. When they launched their final offensive into what is now the Middle East, the Romans, when they launched their final offensive against Parthia, they pushed into their empire to the extent of the what is now Saudi Arabia. That's pretty impressive. So the West won again. Then you had, and this is an impromptu video, so I'm missing stuff left and right, but then you have the Romans fell. Then you have the Western barbaric, that's all they call them, barbarians. It goes back to ancient Greece. But the Germanic tribes of the West blitzkrieged across Europe, into North Africa, etc. Another win against the West, but also against the East too. Byzantine Empire win. Then they got beaten up by the Ottomans, but then the Ottomans got destroyed by the West. Another win for the West. 1991, you had a lot of internal fighting in the European peninsula, but World War I, World War II was against the East, the Japanese win. Vietnam, strategic defeat because we said screw it and we just left. But tactically, we won every single battle in the Vietnam War. And for every one American soldier that was killed, 60 North Vietnamese soldiers or Viet Cong soldiers were killed. And millions were killed altogether by American bombing. 1991, the West beat the shit out of Saddam's Iraq. All right, it's Desert Storm. Then you have 01, conquered Afghanistan with like 300 special operations forces utilizing the Northern Alliance to topple the Taliban. In Afghanistan, win. Iraq in 03, win. Syria backing up with the Kurds against ISIS, win. The West has always won. Now it's China's turn. That's the next who's going to win. This is the final showdown kind of. Who's going to win? Western civilization or Eastern civilization? China. We'll see. Hit it. Roundhouse Report. Please subscribe.